The Great Smoky Mountains National Park, a sprawling wilderness straddling the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. Towering trees, misty peaks, and hidden waterfalls make it a hiker's paradise. On June 14, 1969, the Martin family, William Wilda and their two young sons, Dennis and Douglas, set out for a Father's Day weekend adventure in this majestic landscape. Little did they know, their lives were about to change forever. They joined William's parents and sister's family for a large gathering. The families were excited to spend the day together in the great outdoors. The group decided on a hike along the well-maintained Spence Field Trail. This popular trail promised stunning views and a relatively easy trek, perfect for a family outing. As the adults chatted and enjoyed the scenery, the kids, full of youthful energy, darted ahead. Dennis, a playful 6-year-old with a mop of blonde hair and bright blue eyes, was especially excited to explore. The families reached a clearing near the Appalachian Trail, a popular spot for a break. The adults decided to play a game while keeping a watchful eye on the kids. Dennis, his brother Douglas, and their cousin decided to have a little fun of their own. They planned to sneak up behind the adults and yell, "Boo!" But as the other boys went one way, Dennis took off running in a different direction, towards the dense woods. Douglas and his cousins circled back to the clearing, giggling at their successful prank. But something was wrong. Dennis wasn't there. At first, the adults weren't overly concerned. Kids wander off, they reassured each other. They called out Dennis's name, their voices echoing through the silent woods. Minutes stretched into an agonizing hour. The laughter died down, replaced by a chilling fear that sank its teeth into their hearts. Where was Dennis? Panic set in. The family searched frantically, their calls for Dennis growing more desperate with each passing moment. The once familiar woods now seemed menacing, the towering trees casting long, eerie shadows. The dense undergrowth concealed countless places where a small boy could become hopelessly lost. As darkness descended, casting an impenetrable blanket over the mountains, the horrifying reality of the situation sunk in. Dennis was gone. The family stumbled back to their cars and raced to the nearest ranger station, their hearts pounding in their chests. Every bend in the road, every flicker of movement in the woods, fueled their desperate hope that they would find Dennis safe and sound. But deep down, a gnawing fear whispered that something was terribly wrong. News of Dennis's disappearance spread like wildfire through the small, close-knit community. Park rangers, their faces grim, sprang into action, launching one of the largest search and rescue operations in the park's history. Hundreds of volunteers, their faces etched with worry and determination, poured into the area, eager to help bring Dennis home. They scoured the rugged terrain, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, their voices calling out Dennis's name until their throats were raw. Days turned into nights, and still, there was no sign of Dennis. The search party grew larger, bolstered by seasoned trackers, canine units, and even Green Berets from nearby Fort Bragg. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their powerful searchlights illuminating the dense forest canopy. Divers plumbed the depths of nearby rivers and streams, hoping against hope that they wouldn't find what they were looking for. Every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig, sent a surge of hope through the searchers' hearts. Could it be Dennis? Had he found shelter? Was he scared and alone, waiting for someone to find him? But each lead turned into a dead end, each glimmer of hope extinguished like a flame in the wind. As days turned into weeks, the search area expanded. Volunteers distributed thousands of flyers with Dennis's picture, his innocent blue eyes staring out from the page. Tips poured in from across the country, some credible, others fueled by speculation and the human need to make sense of the unexplainable. Each tip, no matter how far-fetched, was meticulously investigated, but Dennis remained elusive. One particularly intriguing lead came from a tourist who reported seeing a young boy matching Dennis's description walking with an unidentified man on a remote trail miles from where he disappeared. The man was described as being unkempt and acting strangely. Could this be the break they had been waiting for? Had Dennis been abducted? The FBI was brought in to assist with the investigation. They interviewed potential witnesses, analyzed evidence, and chased down every lead. The possibility of an abduction hung heavy in the air, casting a dark cloud over the search efforts. But despite their best efforts, the trail ran cold. The identity of the man and the fate of the boy remained a mystery. Section 5. Theories emerge from the shadows. With each passing day, the mystery of Dennis Martin's disappearance deepened. In the absence of concrete evidence, theories swirled like the mists that often shrouded the Smokies. Some clung to the hope that Dennis was still alive, perhaps raised by a recluse or suffering from amnesia. Others feared the worst, imagining him the victim of a tragic accident or falling prey to the unforgiving wilderness. The most unsettling theory centered around the possibility of an animal attack. Black bears were common in the park, and while attacks on humans were rare, they were not unheard of. Could a bear have snatched Dennis away as he played in the woods? The thought sent shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned searchers. Another theory pointed to the possibility of Dennis falling victim to foul play. While the vast majority of missing children's cases are resolved, the possibility of stranger abduction, though statistically unlikely, could not be ignored. Could Dennis have wandered into the path of someone with sinister intentions? Section 6, The Aftermath, A Community Forever Changed. As weeks turned into months and months into years, the search for Dennis Martin was officially scaled back, though it never truly ended. The Martin family, their lives shattered, clung to the hope that their little boy would one day return to them. They kept his memory alive, their hearts forever marked by the pain of his absence. The disappearance of Dennis Martin left an indelible mark on the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and the surrounding communities. It served as a stark reminder of the power and unpredictability of nature, and the importance of vigilance when venturing into the wilderness. The close-knit community, once shaken to its core, rallied around the Martin family, offering support and sharing in their grief. The case also highlighted the need for improved search and rescue protocols in the park. In the wake of Dennis's disappearance, park officials implemented new safety measures, including increased signage, trail maintenance, and public awareness campaigns. The hope was that by learning from this tragedy, they could prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. Section 7. The Legacy of Lost Search and Rescue Improvements. The disappearance of Dennis Martin served as a catalyst for change in the way search and rescue operations were conducted in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Prior to 1969, search and rescue efforts were often haphazard, relying heavily on the goodwill of volunteers and the limited resources of park rangers. Dennis's case exposed the shortcomings of this system and highlighted the need for a more coordinated and professional approach. In the years following Dennis's disappearance, the park implemented a number of improvements to its search and rescue protocols. These included the establishment of a dedicated search and rescue team, the acquisition of new equipment and technology, and the development of comprehensive training programs for park personnel and volunteers. These improvements have undoubtedly saved lives in the years since Dennis Martin vanished. The park's search and rescue team is now recognized as one of the most skilled and experienced in the country, and its members are called upon regularly to assist with searches in other parts of the Appalachian Mountains. The legacy of Dennis Martin, though tragic, lives on in the countless lives that have been saved thanks to the lessons learned from his disappearance. Section 8. The Enduring Mystery. Despite the passage of time, the case of Dennis Martin continues to fascinate and frustrate investigators. Over the years, there have been numerous attempts to solve the mystery, but none have been successful. The lack of concrete evidence, coupled with the passage of time, has made it increasingly unlikely that the truth will ever be known. Some believe that Dennis was the victim of a tragic accident, perhaps falling into a crevice or succumbing to the elements. Others suspect foul play, pointing to the remote location of his disappearance and the lack of any sign of a struggle. Still others cling to the hope that Dennis is still alive, living under an assumed identity, unaware of the mystery that surrounds his disappearance. The case of Dennis Martin serves as a reminder that even in this day and age, there are still mysteries that defy explanation. It is a story that continues to capture the imagination, a chilling reminder that sometimes people simply vanish, leaving behind nothing but questions and heartache. Section 9. What really happened to Dennis Martin? The truth, as they say, is often stranger than fiction. In the case of Dennis Martin, the truth remains elusive, lost somewhere in the dense undergrowth and swirling mists of the Great Smoky Mountains. Did he wander too far from the trail, succumbing to the unforgiving wilderness? Was he the victim of a tragic accident or a chance encounter with a wild animal? Or did someone somewhere harbor a dark secret, a secret that held the key to unlocking the mystery of Dennis Martin's disappearance? we may never know what truly happened to Dennis Martin. The passage of time has a way of blurring the lines between fact and fiction, and the details of that fateful day have faded into legend. But one thing is certain, the story of Dennis Martin continues to resonate, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of mystery.